Some things just pop into your head. I don't know where it comes from. I guess a lot of it comes from the fact that you've always been interested in music and art, and looked at books and seen films and just, I guess, been inspired by the beauty of the world and the interestingness of other humans and animals. And the creative thing between music and art it comes from the same place, I think, even though the forms are quite different, but it definitely comes from the same place in the brain, and inspiration comes from similar places, not that we know exactly where they are. There's some sort of mysterious process of ideas coming into your head. Music and art's always been important to me. I mean, I've been playing an instrument since I was about 15. Well, actually, earlier than that, I had a few piano lessons when I was 12. And I used to fiddle around with my mother's electric organ a bit. But I've been drawing since I was 3 years old. As soon as I could hold a pencil, basically. So both are very important, and some of the themes that interest me on the visual art side are also sort of reflected in some of the song lyrics and some of the songs that I write. So there is definite relation between the two art forms. I taught myself to paint as a teenager by copying paintings out of art books, mainly Impressionist paintings, things like people like Sisley and Monet and Van Gogh and Cézanne. But basically that just taught me how to mix paints, and then by the time I got to art school, you do life drawing and stuff like that, which just helps your drawing abilities. But I mean, I could paint and draw by the time I actually got to art school. But as you get older, you obviously you learn new things and you refine your approach to some extent. So I could, by the time I was offered commercial jobs and working for Mambo and doing record covers for other bands and stuff like that, I sort of had an idea of what I wanted to do. I mean, a lot of stuff I do is really, it's absurd buffoonery. I mean that's the job of an artist to some extent, is to be a demented buffoon and sort of lurk on the edge of society, be something of an outsider, and I that's part of the job description, and I try to reflect that in what I do to some extent. I mean, I'm serious about being a clown and a buffoon, but it's a serious business, but it's also a ridiculous occupation as well. Doing the Olympics was like a fairly large one-man show. Then you're having the inflatables going around at the closing ceremony. Someone pointed out to me that it was one of the biggest shows on earth, because a couple hundred million people were watching it. So yeah, I mean, you don't think about that stuff too much beforehand, because it might make you feel a little bit constricted. But that was a nice moment to think that a few people were watching that, and I guess to some extent with the New Year's Eve party, a lot of people also watched that. Although for me, the more interesting thing was doing probably the banners around town, which would have been just seen by local people. But I really enjoyed having the banners around town, actually, because they were up for about a month or so, and just seeing the pictures hung up along the street was a nice thing to see as you drive around town. But I do really appreciate the fact that I got to sort of be an artist and a musician, because a lot of people have some talent for doing these things, and they don't necessarily get the opportunity to actually do it and to make a living out of it. My father was supposed to go to art school when he was 16. He had a scholarship in Ireland to go to art school, but his father died very suddenly, so he had to get a job. So he was apprenticed out as a carpenter, and that's what he did for the rest of his life, even though he did a little bit of Sunday painting, and he made toys and things like that. But he never got to express his artistic sort of talent, and I did, so I really appreciate the fact that I've got to do it. The big difference between art and music is that music is a little more sort of you're doing it with other people, basically. Whereas the art thing is more of a solitary thing. You're sort of stuck inside your own head, which can be sort of difficult at times. But and obviously with music, unless you're a completely solo performer, you're generally playing with bands and playing with other people, and you're also relating directly to an audience if you're playing live. So it's definitely a little less solitary pursuit than in art. I quite like being inside my own head most of the time, but I really enjoy playing with other musicians. I mean, playing with a good band is a fantastic thing to do, and playing live to an audience, it's appreciating what you're doing is a great thing. I mean, the audience definitely contributes to the creative energy or whatever happens to be going on when you are playing live. So I like both things. I like to be stuck in my own head, and I also like relating to people to some extent. The things that interest you and obsess you, and you try to represent in some way, either literally or abstractly, you want people to maybe notice those things and appreciate them as you do. I mean, I think so much of sort of human and animal life is kind of sad, really, because animals and humans all eventually will get sick and die, and all the people they know and love will also get sick and die. So that's the big sort of catch-22 of being alive and enjoying it, I guess. But I mean, a lot of things that go on in the world are kind of disturbing and sad, but also it's also fantastic and joyous and endlessly entertaining and interesting. So I guess I there is a certain gloomy loneliness in my pictures and songs, but also hopefully something relatively cheerful as well. Just the fact that someone might be interested in what I do and appreciate in some way I value very highly.